Yeah, Jason on the mic. Welcome to the spot. Breeding those reptiles, straight fire, straight hot. Geckos in the house, snakes twist and turn. Lizards on the prowl, see the passion burn. Breeders in the game, they putting in work. Red tail bows, see them go berserk. Leopard geckos shine like scales of gold. Hobbyists unite, let them stories be told. Putting in that work every day and night. Jason got the spotlight, keeping it tight. Reptile keepers rise, making impact. Breeding them beauties, never looking back. Cages all set, heat lamps in place. Monitor lizards, putting on a chase. From the boa constrictors to the chameleons green. Building up the hobby, live the...
All right, what it do, y'all? Welcome back to Putting in That Work. Today we got the homie Rain on, and we're gonna be doing like some venomous talk. My homie, he has some venomous stuff. What you working with right now?
A couple cobras, a little random viper. I'm kind of trying to not go overboard with the venomous or with the snakes in general, like I used to, but definitely not with the venomous. You don't want to.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't have
like I said,
a ton of space, so
there you go. You know, that seems like that's the problem with everybody. We start running out of space real fucking quick. Like I said,
yeah.
I'm in that same situation. I'm like, man, I keep getting shit in. I'm like, fuck, I ain't got space. I got to figure out space again. So it was like always redoing shelves. Like, all right, now if I move this down, I could put this right here. Then I could move this up here and all this bullshit, all this Tetris shit, right?
Right.
But no, like I said, I have no snake experience whatsoever, so I damn sure ain't got no venomous experience. So no, that's why I wanted to bring you on. We could chop it up, talk about some. Well, you could talk about some venomous shit because, like I said, I have no anything into this game, so I'm all about the learning on this one. This is like educational for me. I was like, I don't ever plan on having venomous, but it's always good to know some shit, right? Like I said, I'd rather be jack of all trades and master of none than just not know shit, right? I always tell people, be versatile. Learn some shit, even though you might not even keep that shit. Like, so you can at least, you can have a decent conversation with somebody and know what the hell you're at least talking about, and and then just kind of have that good back and forth instead of you just kind of looking at somebody like, okay, hey, ball python, let's talk about that real quick. Some bullshit, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, like, all right, so the folks that don't know you, what's your background?
My background starts really with like farm animals and canines and like cultivation of like produce, plants, and things like that. That's what my family used to do on both sides, farming on both sides, tobacco farming, and then I had uncles who were in the military, but at the same time were on the family farm trying to make a better farm dog, if you will. So horses and goats and lambs and tigers and lions. Not there, but we had a lot of animals there. Is what I'm saying. A lot of different animals coming in and out. Farm animals, your basic farm animals for the most part, and then a couple choice dogs. So in the late 80s is when I jumped into reptiles. Like, I guess like wholeheartedly, like, man, like this is where I want to be, like right here. I knew what some things were from growing up young and being moved around, like seeing this, seeing that. But in '88, it's like really when I was working in a pet store when I was 7. And so that's when like everything opened up. I actually went back there. For anybody that follows my Instagram, when I was in DC, I actually went back to that store. It's not a pet store anymore. Obviously, it's a tennis store now.
Damn.
The original one. But it was still interesting to like. I saw one of the guys out there, and I started talking to him. I was like, "Yeah, bro, this used to be a pet store, like from here to here." And I used to work in here. I was like, "Yeah, upstairs used to be like all the aquatics, and like I remember it. Like I could build that store again, like with no problem if I had to." But yeah, that's where it started. Like obviously, like at that time there was no distinction between like venomous snakes and non-venomous snakes. Like hell, if I could get a snake. I'm gonna try to get it, but the family member that I was living with at the time was like not really having that at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to start off like real soft and subtle, like scorpion, tarantula, and then
Mm.
like house gecko, green anole, salamander, and then I would like catch water snakes, like where we lived, and then if I could, then I would bring them home, or and then eventually, I went from like hamsters and gerbils to like Florida king snake. You know what I mean? Like, and it took a lot of convincing, to get that snake, and then then from there, like I remember I had a bunch of like ball pythons and king snakes like for a while. Like that's really all I could get. But I got my first ball python actually like in boarding school. Yeah, like it was so funny. Like she didn't even want me to have the snake, right? Because I just got kicked out of boarding school my freshman year of high school. Yeah, I just got kicked out of boarding school, and so me and a friend of mine who was also into snakes, we had ordered these snakes. I think we ordered them from like Tom Crutchfield, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. It was either Tom or maybe like Gulf Coast. I don't remember where it was, but I know we ordered two of them. He got one and I got one, right? And so what I told my aunt was like, the guys in the dorm, they felt bad for me. And then, I was trying to get a snake anyway. Because I used to catch snakes around campus and bring them back up to my dorm and shit and keep them for like a week or so and then let them go. So I was like, I made up this story that they bought the snake for me. So to try to, so she would let me have it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, right. So we drove like an hour and a half, like up into Maryland to get this snake and then back. And then the snake was like it was an adult ball python, bro. It was like it had ticks on it and shit. Like,
Oh shit.
wild caught. It never ate. Like, honestly, to be honest with you, I don't even remember what happened to that snake. Like, my memory, like, I'm a burnout, but I remember a lot of things. But I don't even remember that snake for more than a week. Like, I can't even remember. I can't remember anything past going to get that snake, bringing it home, and then the next day I played with it, and I don't remember anything else after that. I don't remember what happened to that snake after that. Honestly, I don't. I wish I did. I lost a wallet in that room for like 4 years, like 3 or 4 years until we moved into the house. I couldn't find it, bro. It was like $60 in that wallet. It was an old camo Velcro wallet. You probably had.
Oh yeah.
Everybody
Yeah. We all had one of them things.
Velcro joint, bro. I had like $60 in there, and I somehow, bro, it like got mixed up in my PlayStation cartridges, the cases. And I looked in there a million times. Like, why would I not? It's my room. Bro. I tore that room apart. And then one day we were moving, and I was pulling the same shit out. Dude, I'm playing the games, too. That's the crazy thing. I'm playing the games. I pull it out. Boom, there's the wallet right there. So I'm like, what? That's crazy. So, yeah, like, coming up, like, back then, like, everything was different. But my fascination with venomous was kind of, like, building a little bit. Because I saw like copperheads around, and like I became obsessed with the Kistrodon. And then I found out about like cantil vipers like coming up, and I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Like I have to have a cantil viper. I didn't even know if you could own these things. Like, well, let me not say that. I knew that, well, not specifically, but I knew you could own venomous snakes because in '88, one of the guys that worked in the pet store, he had a cobra. The laws were different back then, but I still know they were like, he's not supposed to have that cobra here. But one of the guys, he had a cobra, and so I never got to see that snake like in person. Like he brought pictures in, so that kind of started it. But I knew that was that was an impossible task right there. Like if I could barely get a snake in the house, asking for something like that. Like plus I had no experience or anything like that. So with I really have experience with reptiles, really. Like, and like I said, in '88, working in there is where like everything started. Like I knew obviously what snakes and frogs were, catching stuff at ponds and creeks and things like that. But as far as man, I go in there and then they got white-lipped pythons, and I don't even know. I have no idea, what I'm looking at, and like why do they have newspaper over these cages? And then they start explaining to me, and that was when I was told like the first myth or what I call lie of the reptile world, dealing with like arboreal snakes as far as green trees and white-lipped pythons. This was when I first heard about this snake that strictly sits up in the trees and it just eats birds, and it waits, and its fangs are longer, and it sits up there and it's so precise because it knows it's only going to get this one chance to eat this bird, and if it misses, you never know when another bird is going to fly by. Like that's what I was being told about the white lip.
That's what I still know now. Like I mean, so like I said, I ain't got snakes at
A lot
all.
of people have heard that lore, that myth, that lie,
Yeah.
and then years later, I would hear the same thing about the green tree python, and still not knowing a lot about these animals at the time because a lot of those books were being written. A lot of the research was being done then, so it hadn't been. There was nowhere for you to go and really get it. Reptile magazine didn't
Okay.
exist at that time,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even then there were specific articles. A lot of those guys were new and they were coming up just like I was. They may have had 10, 15, 20 years on me, but we were still in the same, like in the 20s and 30s. Really, let's just say the 40s is really when the reptiles really started coming over to North America, like really heavy. And then like in the 70s, but we were killing shit. We were killing everything up until like 85,
Okay.
86. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, like the laws were different. Like I remember even hearing Dean Rippett talk about how he was getting venomous snakes in because he sounded like he was a kid who sounded like he knew what he was talking about. Or he was reading these books, and so to an extent he did kind of know what he was talking about, but he had no experience in it. So he's getting bushmasters and gaboon vipers and all this stuff at 14, 15 years old because the laws were different. But like I said, it started with the cobra that I was being shown, the pictures of this cobra that I was being shown, and then him talking about it and hearing about it, and then everybody knows a cobra. If you don't know any other snake in the world, everybody knows a cobra. So,
But yeah.
Years later, I fast forward, and I've taught at botanical gardens, collected stuff. I've had blood python. I've had all kind of stuff. Years later, when around 13, I believe, 13 turning 14, so I got dry bite by a copperhead, and that's when like it really took off for me. Like I really became.
Was that the one that you were talking about before when at school and it hit you on the side? Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know what, man? When I was in DC, man, I told, and I was in that area, but it was like I was at like a little gathering, and it was like late night. But I was like, man, I meant to make a note to go to that school and see if I could get that yearbook. I'm sure they have that yearbook somewhere, even if I could just snap a picture of it. But yeah, I wanted to go and get that yearbook so I could get the picture that the mom took, the snake turning to bite me. So yeah, when I got that dry bite, they took me to the hospital. They rushed me to the hospital. I mean, we didn't know it was dry bite, and like I was chilling, like I was cool on the way there, and we got there, and then after like so long, and then monitoring me, nothing happened. They're like, okay, it's a dry bite. You're fine. You're just gonna, we're gonna give you something, for the infection, and da 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 da, and you put this on it, we'll bandage you up. Like to me, like I ain't gonna lie, I was like, oh man, like I'm invincible. Like I'm friend of the animal. I'm the Beastmaster. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that was my movie back then too.
Yeah. I love it. They had the movie, they had the series, and all that shit. Yeah, I remember that.
Kodo and
Yeah,
Kodo.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a ferret. Bro. I had all kind of shit. I had an albino ferret back then too.
Yeah, let's get to you. God. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and get into this venomous stuff, right? All right. So currently, what you got right now? You just got the forest cobras, or you got anything else?
A forest cobra, and then a red spitter, and then a squamagera.
Oh, I don't even know what the hell that is.
It's just
What is that?
Bush viper, African
Bush viper. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
all
Okay, cool.
Venomous stuff is African.
Okay, cool. So when did When was like the first venomous reptile you ever got? How old were you when you got yours?
The first one I ever bought, or the
Doesn't
first one
matter.
I ever, the first
Either
one I ever
one.
had was a copperhead. About 16,
Hmm.
I caught at the school. I had it for like
Okay.
2 weeks. I snuck it in the house. Um, yeah. Then the first venomous snake I ever bought was like 15, 16 years ago. Was an albino. Actually, I didn't even buy it. I traded it for a green tree python.
Shit.
Yeah, I traded it. It was an albino. I got a picture of her, Miss Hiss. Yeah, that snake. That snake was sexist. It didn't like women. It was a female too. It didn't like women. Like when I'd have women come over where I was living in, when I was on my whole era, come over. Like girls would come over, bro, for real. Like my homies would come over there to the apartment. We sit and smoke, bro. The snake would never come out. Like dudes would be like, bro, what kind of snake is that? Like it don't never be out. What is that? Like a ball python or something? A boa python? Something? I'm like, nah, it's a
Yeah.
cobra. There ain't no damn cobra. Nigga got a cobra, ain't no cobra. And then I'd lift up the hide and show them. They'd be like, oh, you know
Oh yeah.
how black people get. So, but yeah, like man, I'd have females come over, man, like, and she would come out of the hide. That's why I don't like, bro. I don't know if, oh man, there's a lot of things they say about reptiles. Well, at least they generalize about reptiles, about how they can see, how good they are at seeing and hearing. And I don't know, man. Based off of certain things I see, I don't necessarily believe all that is true. I don't have the tools to do that kind of research. I wish I did, but
Yeah.
like, how the hell did this snake know when a woman come over? Versus, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like men and women put off different scents and pheromones and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. That's just I've never had a snake before or since do that. Like that snake really didn't like women. She would come out and hood up the entire time, like, and then yeah, for real. And then like when whoever would leave, then she would literally go right back in her hide. But then
It's like, all
this
right, that
snake
bitch
would
gone. I'm.
Yeah, this snake wouldn't even eat like it was. And mind you, this was an albino monocle. This was the first. So this is where we talk about with mutations.
Mhm.
Automatically, even with this snake, I was seeing like evidence of, um, let's just say, lack thereof in certain areas because it was a mutated animal.
Mhm.
But yeah, it wouldn't even eat live mice. Like I remember my homie. Listen, so I got the snake right from these guys that lived like a couple hours away from where I was. They had all kind of shit. They had anacondas, all kind of stuff at their house. So I called my homie up and I'm like, bro, you still got that 50-gallon that's in your basement? He's like, yeah. What's up? I'm like, man, let me sell it to me. He's like, yeah, what you got? So I was like, I'll show you when you get over here, right? So he comes over. Him and his son, they bring the tank in. And so he goes up to the thing, right? And he's like, oh, man, that's a cobra in there. He's like, what the hell are you doing with that? So he immediately pulls his phone out and starts like, this is one of them old flip phones with the camera.
Oh yeah. Them razor joints, right?
Right. Little camera in the corner. So he starts snapping pictures and he's sending it to his cousin. And his cousin is texting him back like, man, what website you get that from? I think the iPhone might have been out then too, so he might have had a better phone than that if I really think about it. I don't remember, but anyway, he was texting his cousin. His cousin is like on some phone, and he's like, nah, that's not a website. He's like, I'm at my dude's house, and he's like, man, I told you about messing with them white boys. He said, no, this is nigga. he said,
He's like, oh man, you
oh man,
crazy.
you really better get out of there.
Yeah, for real.
He said he's nuts. He said that dude. He said he's nuts. So
Yeah, that boy crazy.
So like the next, like about a week later, he comes back over and I'm feeding the snake for the first time. So I hadn't even fed the snake yet because I like to give him a little time to settle in.
Yeah.
So he comes over. I got the mouse, right? I throw the mouse in there, Like, I don't know about anybody else open and honestly, but you know me, bro. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no
But
filter.
I know a lot of people be lying about why they got into reptiles, or not the only. It's not the. You know what I'm saying, it's the only reason, but one of the main reasons for me, and I know for a lot of other people that you got into reptiles, was to watch them eat and not watch them eat nothing
Yeah,
frozen cold.
I've said this plenty of
So,
times.
but
Like
but
I
folks
got
try to
into
act like
reptiles.
that's not, bro. But why did they try to act like now on social media, bro? It's like, when I talk about certain topics and things like that, even in the dog world, when I know people do it, we talk about culling, and I know you do it, but you don't. Oh, I don't want to. Nah, bro, that's a part of breeding, bro. Like, are we doing this? Are we professionals? Or are we playing around with this? You know what I mean? Like, bro, if that's what I'm a breeder. I don't care. I don't know what anybody else is doing. I breed. I breed. I don't just breed animals. So if it's trash, bro, I'm not gonna release that to the. I don't care.
Yeah,
Because so I sell you some trash, and what they gonna do? Go on the internet and bash me. Oh, Rain sold me some bullshit. But if I don't sell it to you and I cull it, oh, he's culling. Like, you can't win. So I don't. I'm me. I
yeah.
don't pay my
Either
money.
you a cruel person or you selling trash.
Yeah,
Which one?
you can't win. So like I tell them, bro, I got a lot of room in the back if you want to come and fight about it. Keep it moving, bro. They're gonna be mad when I do this green tree python presentation. But anyway, so yeah, like that was my reason for getting into it. So going to get, and I mean, you were almost every pet store offered live mice. Like that's like some of them would have, like, in the beginning, you had to get live mice. Majority of places you went to. Like I remember even at Animal Hut in the beginning, like the first job they ever had me do was stunning, bagging, and freezing mice. But they
Mhm.
also had live mice, but they were like, some people don't want live mice. So we
Yeah,
keep them.
yeah.
I remember they used to, they'd be like, I can't say the exact words that they would say, but they were basically like, they don't like live, making fun of them basically. And like,
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, who wants to watch something eat something dead? That's boring. Like that's the whole point of me. Like I wanted to get into this to watch the snake eat, to watch the monitor.
Yeah, it's the reason why I got into reptiles and geckos. I want to see that predator instinct. I want to see him
Right, that's
hunt.
the whole thing. Like you don't want to, why would you want to breed dumb animals or dumb or dull them down? You know what I mean? Like it's because you can breed dependencies, and like that's how animals become tolerant of humans. And that's what it is with reptiles. It's a toleration. They're not cuddling up with us, but it's a toleration because they identify us with certain things now through captive breeding. But yeah, so that was my thing, right? So I got this mouse, I throw the mouse in there, and the snake doesn't do anything, right? Like actually, like kind of ran from it. I was like, what? So I was a little hurt, and my dude immediately, how you got it,
He's
how you
clowning.
got your got black boy right there, black nigga with you. Bro, he's like. He starts going off on me like, bro, he like, my nigga, you got one of the most dangerous animals in the world, and it ain't doing nothing. So I take the
Yeah.
mouse out, and I stun it, and then I throw the mouse back in there, and immediately the snake goes in for the mouse. And so he starts going off on me even more. He's like, oh, hell no, bro. He said, man, this thing got venom to kill how many people? What they say on Nat Geo, killed 2 elephants? Man, he's saying all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta hand him his food on a dinner plate. He's like, oh, I'm gone, bro. I'm gone. I don't even want to go to the movies with you no more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like that snake, like, literally would not like eat that food. Like it never ate. It would never eat. And that's a part of that's conditioning. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like over time, over breeding. If that's what it's like you feed your kid pizza forever. You start feeding them pizza when they can eat, adult food, I guess, or solid food, and that's all you give them. And then you hand this dude a cheeseburger. That nigga's gonna be like, "What? What is this?" No matter how delicious that cheeseburger may be, he's gonna be reluctant to take a bite of that cheeseburger at first. And I mean, once he does it, he'll be like, "Oh my god, like cheeseburger." But it took him like a week. So
Yeah.
yeah, like that was that. So the venom thing then was like, yeah, having the constrictors or just a powerhouse like colubrids that just like strong arm the prey. Like
Yeah,
those are
yeah,
always
yeah.
exciting to see. But then having that venom where that snake just hits that, and then it'll generally run off, and then
Yeah, and just die somewhere, and then they go and get it.
yeah, like it's some is faster than others. I've even had snakes that, because they were so, when I got them when they were babies, like cobras, they were so used to being fed, um, like, frozen thawed, that they would they wouldn't envenomate, obviously. So I'm like, oh, so basically I got to teach you how to use your venom. So I'd have to like tug on the pinky a little bit, so
Yeah, kind of.
move just to force it to kind of like think that it's alive. Because I'm like, in my
Okay.
mind, like, I don't, I want a snake to do what it's any animal, pressa, canary, snake, whatever. I don't want a tree python that doesn't tree python. You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm like, that's my whole thing, like right there. So I don't want a cobra that doesn't do cobra stuff, and you know what I mean. So, or any venomous snake or any, like I said, whatever it is, I want it to do its job. So I
And this was
started.
the albino, right? That you're talking
This
about.
was an albino.
So do you think it's probably like I mean, sure, it's two things. Like, right? It's so used to frozen thaw, but then also that albinism, so it has the red eyes and it can't really see that well. So it's like, what the hell's going on? What the hell did you just throw at me? Is it like a little bit of that? You think?
I don't know necessarily on the sight thing. I think it's more of, like, we're talking, man, that snake, those snakes have been bred for at least a decade.
Okay,
Those
so they're just
albinos.
conditioned
So it's
to.
more so, yeah, it's conditioning. Like I said, like there were some other things I can't really remember that were subtle, where I'm like, but I didn't see these in animals that weren't mutated, but I did see these in animals that were mutated, like different behaviors and things like that. Because like I personally try not to buy morphs. You know what I mean? Like that's not my thing. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, same here. The only morphs I have are these Pictus geckos, and they're getting shipped out on Tuesday.
And like,
That's the
but
oh,
some species have been with us for so long, and the monocle cobra is one of them. Like even like the diamondback rattlesnakes, the ball pythons, the boas, the red tails, the sand boas. Like a lot of species have been with us. You can tell which ones have been with us the longest, venomous and non-venomous, because those ones are the ones that are all mutated. Most of them, not all of them, but the ones that were popular, like you gotta think about like the Dumrell's boa. Like that was a popular snake in like the late 80s and the 90s, and then it just like literally like disappeared. Like white lip pythons too. Like they were popular in the 90s, and then they literally like disappeared. No one talked about them, no one sold them, and then they slowly started making a comeback. But you don't really see, you just now seen the white lip python hit its first mutation.
oh,
The
really? I didn't even know about it.
Yeah,
What was
it's
it?
an albino.
Oh, okay.
And then it's like the Gabon is just now hitting. Like that was another one that like was popular in the 90s, and then it just kind of disappeared, and then it made a comeback. It's a cheap
Oh,
snake
okay.
also. It's like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
you can
yeah,
get one, for like
yeah,
80
yeah.
bucks.
I used to see them all the time when I went to when I was living in Texas, and I'd go to the
Oh
San
yeah, to the shows
Antonio.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because the San Antonio one is like a hot show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it'd be like this big ass Gaboon Viper and this tiny old like a deli cup. Like that thing takes one little puff, that's gonna break that joint. I'm like, get out of here. That thing was pissed off. But yeah, it was like $80. It was cheap as shit.
Yeah, they're
I was like,
still they're still for the most part they're like ball pythons. Like all those
that
mutated animals are
yeah.
the wild types are like they're not really worth anything. I mean, none of this stuff is really worth anything. It's like right, and what someone is willing to give you. It's like the difference
Yeah.
between like stacking metal and collecting coins. It's very different, because stacking metal is like to help you in hard times or like inflation, and also to
Hmm.
make you money as well. Whereas collecting coins, like that coin, yeah, it's silver or it's gold, but on the market it's only worth its weight in gold or silver. So
Hmm.
it's a collector's item. So you have to find a collector that's willing to give you
Yeah,
$10,000 because
that's
of
just
this, and this.
yeah.
And it's
That's
the same
that.
thing.
That's this whole hobby right here. It's
Right.
only
It's
worth
like with
what
weed.
someone's willing to pay for it.
Right. I tell people all the time, like, bro, I grow weed. I could give you a pound of weed for free. I grew it. It's mine. I can do whatever. I could sell it to you for $20,000 if you want to. If you're willing to pay that, then that's what it's worth. If I give it to you for free, then that's what it's worth. Doesn't mean it's necessarily good nor bad. So yeah, that's what it is. And so yeah, a lot of venomous snakes were really cheap. A lot of them still are cheaper than non-venomous snakes. There's not a huge market for venomous snakes. It's bigger than it was, but it's still not like, I think a lot of it now is like social media based. As a lot of people are like jumping in, I got to do this and I got to do that, or I'm not a
Yeah.
cool kid. But yeah, so when you have like cobras are fairly cheap. The
Hmm.
monocles now, the mutations are a little bit more expensive. But I remember back, your general cobra in the 90s was like $25 to $100. King cobras were like a few $100s.
That's crazy
A
that
lot of
something
this stuff
that can
has been
kill
rolling.
you
Yeah.
is
Well,
only
yeah,
like 20
right.
some dollars.
But and that's the thing. You would think that we see, you look at it as like, I think the average person looks at the venom aspect of it, right? And so
Hmm.
that's what gives the snake a more dynamic or more excitement to it.
Oh
It
yeah,
makes it
yeah.
more dynamic. But cobras are no less common than the garter snake or the
Yeah.
Arizona king snake. If you go out and look for them, you know what I mean, in the right spot, you'll probably find 10 of them. And that's how it
Hmm.
is with cobras. They're everywhere. They got a whole island where these cobras live with people, and they've never had a single bite over there. But the cobras literally are like, you'll go over there and the cobras, you'll be sitting there eating a sandwich and like 29 cobras are going by, doing their thing. And
Yeah.
they don't
Damn.
fuck with the people over there at all.
Yeah, it's because they're so
Like,
used to them now, right? No.
it definitely shows, like I said, again, the tolerance of relationship between
Yeah.
species.
Yeah.
But, and it's also in an open environment as well. It's not these animals aren't being caged, because that also changes the dynamic of an animal physically and mentally. And then when you breed that, that as well gets passed on. So, but yeah, a lot of venomous snakes, the majority of venomous snakes are fairly cheap.
Hmm.
So they're,
Cheap to
but
get, expensive to get the.
oh yeah, 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 definitely. But in the '90s, I would say I want to say in the '90s, in like the 2000s, it was a little, in my opinion, I think it was harder to get venomous snakes, like, because just some of the people who were selling them were sticklers about who they sold them to, and I think now everybody's just like, I just want to get paid, and if you want to buy it, I got them. And if you're in the state and it's legal, because here's the thing, like, some places are easier to get permits than others. Some places you got to have like, I think it's
Hmm.
like 1,000 hours per species or something
Yeah.
like that, which is ridiculous. Like, if I had to do that, I wouldn't keep them, because I've already done that. I don't need to do that, and I didn't have any kind of mentor. There were no mentors coming up in the 80s and 90s in the reptile world. You know what I mean? Like, there were no, like now they're like, people are like, oh, this is my mentor, this, that, and the other. There were no experts then. Everybody was new because all the magazines and publications were new. So all my experiences, I'm all self-taught. Like, I was teaching motherfuckers at
All
13
hands on. Yeah.
because of me just sitting at home and reading books and going out, because my backyard, like, there was a creek that ran through there, basically a forest, and I'd be out there every day because I wasn't allowed to watch TV Monday through Thursday. So, that's all I could do. I
Yeah.
had,
I mean, yeah,
I had
shit.
my archery team. Like, I had the target and the range set up in the backyard. Me and my cousins would be out there, compound bows, long bows, crossbows, things like, we were hunting at, 10 and 11,
I mean, it's teaching you a life skill that
right.
can,
Yeah. And
some
see,
shit
that's the
goes
thing.
down, you
So,
know.
I, even though like the person that was raising me wasn't really about this at all. Like, it was hard for me to get stuff. Like, I remember like one of the second snakes that I got was I think it was before the blood pythons was a Everglades rat snake. Because anybody who knows, like I love rat. I'm a rat snake fanatic. I love
Oh
rat
yeah,
snakes.
I didn't even know that. Shit.
Oh yeah, I love rat snakes. So yeah, I
Yeah.
had this rat snake, and me and my homie come over. This white dude that I used to kick it with, and we go snowboarding together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he messed with snakes a little bit too. Like my whole crew, bro, it was crazy. Like it was like fucking Taste the Rainbow in the '90s. I don't know how it's so segregated now. At least on the East Coast,
Shit.
all my niggas were white, black, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Salvadoran, and we all mess with reptiles. All of us. You know what I mean? We all mess with reptiles. Like all my white boys, like they were like dudes in Mo County were like boas and like what are those one lizards? Uromastics. Like my dude and his cousin, bro. That's all they mess with. They had some big boas. I used to go over there. I used to love going over there. Their mom was beautiful. But anyway, they used to bring them out. That's what back in the day. They're like, oh, I got it so big, I got to feed my snake in the bathtub. We're talking 90, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. All those years. Yeah, like everybody, like I don't know how it's like, to the point now where you got to tell a nigga that you a black reptile keeper. Like I'm pretty sure people see that we're not white. You may not know that I'm mixed.
I mean, out in public, if I talk about it, they just look at me weird. They're like, "You what? You what?"
It's not, in the black household in general, more so than other households. It's just not. They don't even want us to have a dog half the time. So asking for a snake, especially if they're super into the Bible and then you live in that kind of household, that's like asking. Yeah,
snake is a devil.
You're inviting the devil in the house. So
right,
there's no way. There's no way that's gonna happen. Well, I don't care. I don't care if it's gonna, black family will ruin your career path on some. And you know what I'm talking. A lot of black people know what I'm talking about, bro. They will ruin your life because they don't like your parent, bro. Black parents will fuck your life up, bro. The old ones from the 70s and 80s, they will ruin your life, bro. If it hadn't been for me, like, breaking away and, like, being, like, to the point, like, I was rebellious. Like, I don't care what you say. I'm doing this. You're not going to control me. You're not even my mom, bitch. Like, are you serious? Like, you're not going to control me because, what I was being told was you're never going to make any money or amount to anything doing reptiles. And that's just a hobby. And animals are this and that. And you need to find, I'm like, nah. Now, bro, I got more money than all of them, bro. They be calling me, asking me how to make money. Oh, what you're doing is just a hobby. I'm like, it's not. It may be a hobby for some people, but it's not a hobby for me. And I kept reiterating that to them, but they wasn't trying to hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, bro. Like I had to break away because, like I said, and that's a black household, bro. Will destroy your career path. An average black household. That's what I'm saying. I don't care how mad they get. Because the average black household ain't doing shit with themselves. And it is what it is. I don't care. You know me, it is what it is. But in that situation, the average black household, like you laughing, because it's today. Average black household, you're not bringing no snakes home.
No. Like I said, even like my friends.
A lizard, because it's got legs, and it don't talk about lizards in the Bible, but a snake? No.
Yeah.
No. You're starting to see those, like, abnormal black households. Their kids are they're allowing the reptiles and the geckos and a little bit of stuff like that. You know what I mean? But not the average. Yeah. They're not trying to. We're not. No way. So yeah, I had to fight that, and even my cousins were like, "Nah, bro, you should find. Like that's cool and all, but." I was like, man, that's probably why that snake bit you in the face back in 1990 when we worked in the pet store. Yeah, my cousin came over to see me. I was working, and I was like, bro, we had just got these red-tailed boas in. And I was like, bro, these babies. And I went and pulled two of them out. And I was like, bro, look at these snakes, bro. These are beautiful. Like, nice red saddles. They were like that long. I'm showing them. And he's like, oh, yeah. And one turned and looked at him. Bow! Got him right in the face. They were like, nigga, he's not your friend. He's no friend of the animal. So,
Right.
but so yeah,
Well,
but yeah, like so venom, like I said, with the venomous snakes, man, it was like I said, it started with that trade, and then it just kind of went from there. And I was like, all right, let me look into this more. It's easy for me to get them. The laws were different where I was back then, and so I'm gonna shoot. Hell, I was trying to get these snakes are $1,000, but I can get these snakes and they're only $100, and I can get 5 of them and save money. And they're venomous. Like, I've always wanted, venomous snakes. So
hmm
that's how it happened. But I was into tree python still, like super heavy. Like I said, that was how I made the initial trade. And so yeah, I had monocles for a long time because I love cobras. I'm not really into vipers. It's a couple vipers that I like, but I had monocles for a long time, and then I just started getting bored with them. But not to say that that's a snake that you should sleep on. A lot of them are bluffers, though. A lot of them won't bite. A lot of them don't bite unless you're like really grabbing it and like. A lot of them,
well, because
when they strike.
they always say like, with venomous, they don't want to use their venom on you. They want to use it for their food, right?
Right. Yeah, it's not for defense.
Yeah.
It's for predation. Yeah, they definitely don't want to waste it because I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it takes like 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours depending on species to to regenerate, depending, and some pump up. But I know that, adults can definitely control the outtake to an extent. These animals are a lot smarter than we can even imagine that they are. They're so
hmm
intelligent, but that's like, in my opinion, that's still calling them dumb. Because we'll never be able to get on the level of a gecko or a python or even a dog. You know what I mean? Like, we know how intelligent a dog is, but you really don't know. Because you can't, unless you can be in a dog's body for 24 hours, and that's a long time in dog time.
Yeah, yeah,
So you're never gonna grasp it. Just like a dog can never, like, we be trying to make animals be human.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even with reptiles, we try to force stuff on them. Like, no, nigga, you gonna live in this cardboard box, motherfucker.
You gonna love it. You gonna live here
You're
and
gonna
love it.
breathe in here, and you ain't getting no light.
Shit.
You know what I mean? So,
Oh man. So I mean, say so. What is the whole aspect like? What made the cobras more, I guess, attractive to you compared to like the viper or whatever else?
I think they're easier to handle.
Okay.
I think they are more intelligent than vipers. I'm not saying that
hmm
vipers are dumb by any means. I think that, just like you may be smarter than me, I may be smarter than you. We're around the same age, or you have more experience here than I do. You know what I mean? Or I have more experience here than you do. So I think that cobras, in my opinion, and what I've worked with both, because that's one thing about me. Like, before I say like, oh, I don't like this, I'm going to get one. Like, I have a viper here. You know what I mean? Um, and I've had other vipers before. Obviously, like, I like copperheads. Like I said, I do like a few vipers. So, but I just think that I don't think that they're as intelligent or as they're not. To me, they're not as animated. I don't know. That might only make sense to some snake people because I think some snakes are definitely less animated than others. Like, you look at a green tree python versus a sunda python. Like, sunda pythons are probably the most animated python than a scrub. They tend to move around a lot, whereas you see some snakes, even some geckos, like, they be in the same spot all day. Like, 2 days
Oh
later,
yeah,
they
yeah,
come
yeah.
back.
Yeah. He don't move until food comes.
So I think, like, every day that I come out, like every morning, like, my stuff is out around the same time. You know what I mean? But now, like, this particular forest cobra's been with me for like 3 years, over 3 years. Doesn't really hood up, and when he does now, it's like a bluff. He doesn't. His mouth isn't open. Like, he may even like softly, like, I'll go in there and like put my hand on the cage or my finger like that, and he'll follow it, and he'll come to the cage and maybe even like softly bump it with his snout, and then, like, that's it, and then going about his business. Like, And there's been days where I've been tempted to just like let him out, but I don't have that kind of space in that room. And I'd love to let him out down here, but I just recarpet it down here. And, just in case he decided to flip the script, because they're smart, bro. They'll learn your routine. He could be playing me. You know what I mean? Like, this nigga think we cool.
Yeah. So I guess, do you have protocols when you enter that room with them?
I mean, do as I don't say and not as I do. I'm not saying that I don't have protocols, but I mean, bro, like I don't want to get bit by a non-venomous snake. I don't want to get bit at all.
Yeah.
And I've been bitten dozens and dozens of times by non-venomous snakes. I'm really hands off with all my stuff.
Okay.
But at the same time, like I live right across the street from the hospital. So like,
there you go.
If I were to get bit right now, yeah, I could walk to the hospital. It would take me less than 45 seconds to get to the hospital. So,
and they got the shit you need though. That's the question.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you can't get anti-venom. You can't. There's nowhere you can go and buy it. Luckily, I'm in a state where there is a guy here, the Viper Keeper, who.
Okay, yeah, I know you're the YouTube guy.
He's got all kind of anti-venom. So, under the normal sort, if I don't, I'm sure he'd be willing to help me out if I got bit under, some normal circumstances, not under some Jeff circumstances. Like, trying to play with a type hand. Such and such happened, like, bro, and, something normal that could happen. Like, I was, took him out, cleaned the cage, put him back in, and he turned and he tagged me. It was so fast. Like, in a situation like that, generally, I'd say 95% of the time, people are willing to help you out. You know what I mean? So,
unless you're an asshole and be doing that dumb shit.
But right. But I have to know who to tell them who to call and stuff like that. So luckily the hospital is right there.
Okay, cool. So when you're actually when you got to clean that cage, so what are you doing? Are you like you tailing in and hooking, or are you just kind of letting them? Like, what do you do?
I get my magic stick. Like, look here, dude. No. I pull out my flute.
Goddamn.
I do it. I flute his ass in a basket. Get your ass in there. No, like, it depends. Like, he doesn't, he takes some of the smaller species of cobras, like, they like spray shit like everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you'll
like a colubrid, they'll be spraying that shit.
Yeah, like that. They're like monocles. Like, they spray it everywhere. You know what I mean? Or they'll get in the water bowl. Like, the forest cobra is like, he's very clean. Like, he pretty much goes on one side of the cage. It's always solid, like a python shit.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I really do in there is try to take care of as much of the leftover calcium.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just go in with like my vacuum, and I've got a metal, it's almost like chicken wire, but it's real thin. And so I just put that over the suction thing, so it doesn't pick up any of the rocks and not so much of the dirt, and just get the calcium out like that. But so I don't always take him out, and that's anybody tell you like that's not the best thing to do at all. But sometimes I do have to take him out. And when I do have to take him out, generally, I just, I'll go in, tail him, pull him out. The hook, I use the hook kind of like it depends. I mean, he's generally pretty chill, but he's a big snake.
Okay. How big is he?
He's like over 9 feet.
Damn.
So, he's a big snake. So the hook really doesn't do much for me.
Okay,
it helps me get him out, like, instead of having to, like, reach in there and try to get him like that. So I use the hook to get him out. But, like, once he's out, like, I'm generally, like, unless I can get him to immediately go in the container, I have, like, a big blue container that I put him in. Unless he goes in there immediately, which is, like, that almost never happens. Because he's so long, like, he'll hit it, and then he'll come back out, and then he'll try to get around the cage. Like, he's never tried to attack me, though. Like, he usually just tries to get away. for the most part, or he'll try to climb on me, and I'm like, bro, I really don't want you climbing on me. You have to learn kind of how to maneuver and do the dance a little bit. Yeah, it's usually fairly easy to get him out and get him in there, and then the getting back in and getting out is like super easy. And so I just clean that way. If I have to change like the bedding, when I go in and do like my 6-month bedding changes, I use like pond stones core and moss.
Okay.
So I have to take all the stones out and I wash them. I soak them. So he'll be in that container for like a day or two while I soak the stones, and then I'll go get new moss and lay new cocoa core and a new pad under there, and then I'll put everything back in there. And so to make it easier on me, with all my snakes, I have water basins, like big water basins. They're basically like ponds, like small basins with air stones in them, so I don't have to change the water every day. Because I know that a lot of those snake guys and reptile guys, they don't change their water, but like once every 22 days. So,
God damn.
Listen, bro, I just seen MJ on a podcast. Like, he's like, bro, I change my water every 3 days. I'm like, 3 days, bro? 3 days after 24 hours, bro. Like, I don't listen. You can say what you want. I can take you upstairs right now. Even on my misting systems, I have air stones in the wherever it pulls, the container that it pulls the water to spray from. I have air stones in those too, to always be pumping air in the water. Like, because after 24 hours, one, I don't want a higher water bill. Two, I don't want my animals. They be wondering why their animals be getting sick, and stuff like, because after 24 hours, stagnant water starts to build, parasites, bacteria, and then parasites can start to form, and you got animals in there, especially if you've got, and depending on how you keeping it. And then if the thing shits in the bowl, it may not drink the water, but parasites and bacteria spread. They don't just stay in one place like do. So, like, no, and it's funny, like, hearing somebody say that, because I know other people, like, yeah, I change water like once every like 5 to 7 days. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you drink the same water? Like,
snake people.
Yeah, bro. Like, do you get a fresh glass of water or juice or soda or or
you just keep drinking that same cup?
Yeah, you don't. Like, that's crazy, bro. Like, nah, bro. That's ridiculous. I know he gonna, MJ don't like me any. Not that I give a shit. He probably somebody like, bro, Rain was talking about you. Bro, you did that shit was in public, bro. I'm just saying what I heard you say on a podcast. And it ain't even him. It's not just him. It's a lot of them, bro. Like that.
Yeah.
I got a problem with that. Because would you give your kids stagnant water?
Yeah. I mean, you see shit in the water, take it out, switch it out. Boom. Every feeding, take it out, switch it out, all that shit. Spray them it daily, all that, whatever.
And don't get it twisted. Just because I'm saying I got air stones in there, if it poops in the water, I don't have a.
I'm gonna take it out.
I'm gonna take even if it's the next day. But generally, nothing that I have poops in the water. Thankfully,
I got geckos that will, just to be assholes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've had animals that have done it. Yeah. Right now, I'm lucky. I don't have anything that poops in the water. But the green tree monitor, I change his water every day. There's no air stone in there because I change it every day because he gets in there every day. So I change it when I wake up in the morning. At 6:30, before that thing even comes out of its little sleeping log, I go in there and I change the water. So, because the first thing he does is he goes and he gets a drink of water. But, since he gets in there and then he's tracking dirt in and out throughout the day, I just change it. Whereas my snake cages, I never see him I see him soaking in there and he gets out, it's spotless in there. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I do that, and I also do that for my misting systems because that water, like, it's people like, oh, you got to go on vacation. I got misting systems. Like, yeah, but after 24 hours, that water is dead, bro. Like, put a pump is only $5. Just drill another hole in the top of the thing and put the thing in there and turn the shit on. Like, boom. It's simple. But, yeah, like, there are things that I definitely do to make it easier for myself, where I don't have to do as much work.
Yeah, and keep
You know,
that stress level down of the snake, right?
right. Well, that too, and the more snakes you have, venomous or non-venomous, but venomous, like that's every chance every snake is a chance to be bitten. You have to
Hmm.
look at it that way. If you're not looking at it that way, then you really don't give a shit about your life. Like, I don't care how friendly you think a king cobra is with you. Like, it may not be biting you because of something necessarily that you did wrong, or anything could happen, bro. You could slip and fall or turn around, or like you have, like, I see videos where people they'll have their snakes, their venomous snakes out, and then they'll have strangers around, especially with cobras, where they're like really personable. They know who you are and they know who you aren't. Like, you could have
Hmm.
an incident where somebody else gets bitten or something like that. Like, so, bro, I see some crazy stuff online. Some cats that I know that I be talking to, I be saying shit like, bro, you're tripping right now. What are you doing? But it's not my. I tell them like this: when they start taking stuff, they ain't gonna take my shit, because I'll really fight them. I know a lot of people they say that, but they won't. Like, bro, it's not gonna be my fault when they shut it down. That's for damn
Hmm.
sure. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, so now, like, the venomous is like a spectacle. Like, you're so many people like that I've never even heard of. Like, I don't know what kind of experience they have or don't have, and to me that really, it's like, really, what is that? In a sense, is like, but yeah, it's like experience. Like, I didn't have any experience. No one ever taught me how to work with the snake, venomous or non-venomous. Yet I've been keeping venomous for over 15 years, and I've never even had a close call.
Hmm.
Why? One, because I don't do dumb shit with my animals. Two, like, I don't look at them the way some other people do. Like I said, like, I'm hands off. Like, it's awesome when I see people open up their cages and their tree monitors run out, and I would love to have a tree monitor that would do that. But I really don't give a shit if it does that or not. As long as it's eating, you know what I mean, and
All that
it's
thing is healthy.
thriving, and I'm giving it the best environment that I can. Like, that's all I care about. I don't care about all that other stuff. Like, that's a plus to me. I never, even with venomous, like, I never thought about freehanding. Have I freehanded snakes, venomous snakes? Of course, you know. So, but like I said, it's, to me, it's like, if you see me freehanding the snake, it's either I'm working with it, which I'm not recording, and if I do record something or take a picture, it was a very convenient moment. And that's why I don't have very many pictures of me freehanding venomous snakes, because it's not something that I do on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean that type of stuff. I mean, when people do it, it's just like a bad look. Like, you're just giving people permission. Like, oh, I could do that too. It's like, no, you gotta know what the hell's going on. Like, you see all these people online. Look at this, boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, tag. Now they ass up in the hospital. But like, let me say, what would you consider, like, for, what's to say? How would I say? Like, what would be your idea of having regulations on this? Like, what do you think, like, are some requirements you think people should be having before they go ahead and get, like, a venomous reptile?
I mean, I definitely think that, obviously, like, age restriction for one, and then two, I definitely think that you should have to take like a. I don't think it should have to be like. Sometimes they go overboard. Like, where you don't need a 2-year course, like 6 months, like 6 months, like online, like 3 months online, like a 6 month course, like 3 months online, like 3 months field work.
Hmm.
I think, for like basic to moderate, and then anything after that is up to you to advance on your own to be able to start to get permits. I don't think 1,000 hours per animal is ridiculous,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
especially when there's not that many people. And this isn't only in certain states, but there's not that many people to even give you that kind of
those
mentorship.
hours. Yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, who mentored them, and who started this shit? Like 8 Ball MJG said, we started this shit. We're gonna finish.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Because I know we got a few out here. Like, So we got like the rattlesnake solution. They do 2 courses a year, and they're like 8-hour courses, right? Like, hey, shh, fuck up, god damn. Um, yeah. So you got the rattlesnake solution. You go out there. You do your thing. It's like 8 hours a day for like 2 days, and it's not even crazy expensive. I think it's like a couple $100, right? And then we also have the Phoenix Herpetological Society. Like they got this sanctuary, right? Like I guess they said it was like one of the biggest venomous collections or whatever in the US. And like they got so much shit. So but they do classes as well. So I mean, yeah, something like that would work out, like you said, but not it shouldn't be 1,000 hours per species because I mean there's a lot of damn species. Like that's years and years and years. Like nobody got time for that. Like unless you're just gonna specialize in one, and then
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think like I think after you get like your like after you like you go and you take this 6 month course, I think
yeah,
after that, like now they're like, okay, so now you can own venomous snakes. I think then in order to get to the next level and like or species, let's say like you do that, so now they're like, okay, now you like because like in the UK to own anything in certain parts, like you got to set it up and then they've got to come and look at it first
do inspections, right?
and then they'll give you the thumbs up, or the thumbs down. And I think it should be something similar, not necessarily like people like I don't because I don't really want anybody in my house. I mean, you could even like maybe submit things, like online or whatever, but however it gets sorted out. But like a 6 month course, right? And then you get all your caging set up, like the minimum, you'll have like minimum like caging requirements for like specific species, right? And so then when you go to apply for you want a king cobra, I think you should have to write a paper and submit this paper and say like I'm getting this, Ophagius bungaris or whatever, and from this is that, and then I acquired it. It's a wild caught or it's a captive bred, and this is my intent with the animal. And I'm going to house it, in such a manner and feed it in such a manner, and like, yeah, that's how I see it. Because, like I said, this ain't a hobby for me, so I'm only ever going to see it like that. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to see it as, oh, I got a king cobra, I'm about to breed this junk and sell it. And I'm motherfucking gonna be like, yeah, that boy got king cobras. He was selling them. Like, yeah, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I do like to do research, which is why I still even where I live, go out in the field and forage and catch things and document what I see and post stuff on iNaturalist. Because that stuff is important. I think that yeah, and then when you want to go, so then after you submit that and they look over it and they say, okay, great, that sounds good, and you follow up with that with your research, and you can get as many king cobras as you want, or there's a limit because who needs 20 king cobras? Like if you're
Yeah,
doing
especially when as big as they get too.
right,
Nah,
so and right,
that's like
and
people
that's
with
that's
anacondas and
what I
shit.
was kind of saying about space is not that I want these people in your house or in my house, but determining the amount of space you have versus the animals you can have. Like motherfuckers be trying to fit these snakes into space that they don't even have. Like, don't like man, like in my sunroom, like there were dogs in here, so I ripped up all the carpet and everything and I made the environment suitable for dogs and easier for me to work in because the carpet, they're tracking my backyard is right here. This door goes out to my backyard. So when it rains, they're tracking dirt in and things like that. So I'm not going to keep the carpet in here. I'm just going to rip it up, and then
Yeah.
I'll recarpet it like I did. The carpet dude, he's a hippie. He like weed. So I carpeted 2 rooms for 2 ounces, motherfucker. Nice carpet, padding and all. God damn it. I laid it myself. So,
Exchange of services.
right. So I made the environment suitable for canines. I had kennel like crates in here, everything that needed to be in here. Now, if I were to spend like you see the windows, these windows are old, they're not energy efficient. You can't even see like they open like, like French doors basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all the way around. But it gets cold in here in the wintertime. I have a heater in here, and I have a deep freezer in here. So if I were to spend $20,000 to get better windows in here to better insulate this room, then yeah, this would probably be my reptile room. I got a lot of space in here, So then I could do bigger things. Like my forest cobra, like he needs a bigger enclosure, So now I have to figure out how I'm going to do that in that room where I don't have a ton of space. So I'm like, the best thing I can do is I can only go but so wide because I have to be in here. So I have to go up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and when you go up like that, it's hard. Especially, I have to do all this shit by myself. But you got to think about that, especially when you're getting venomous snakes that are going to get bigger. Like me, I don't like baby anything. I don't like puppies. I don't like baby snakes unless I have to. Like, give me, like when I call kennels, I'm looking for a 6-month-old and up. Because 8-week-old puppy, 10-week-old puppy can't show me shit. And there ain't no amount of convincing me that you're going to talk to me on the phone that's going to get me to believe you. I've been doing this a long time. An 8-week-old, unless I know you, and we're talking about a solid breeding program off of like a F2, F3. I'm really looking at F3, F4, 5. Because after F1s and F2s ain't shit. Like in a breeding program, you can't even talk about those dogs. You can't even talk about your bloodline until you're at least 3 generations in. And that's on the proper breeding programs. Something like that, yeah, I know those dogs are probably going to be fire, but still at the same time, let me see what you got that's older. Before I look at those dogs, let me see 6 months and up. Because I'll take a 2-year-old dog. I don't mind. I don't care how aggressive you say it is.
Let me ask you: do you think there should be more onus on sellers of venomous, like not trying to sell to anybody?
I think a lot of them. Well, it's changed over the years. I think because a lot of those guys either died or got out of it, so a lot of young guys are coming up, and so it's a social media thing, and people want to make money. And you go to so and so, he's got this. Go to so and so. So you're starting to get that reputation for selling these animals. I think the same thing should apply. I mean, you go apply for permits if you're going to be doing certain things. Like, I guess, I mean, when you import export, you need licenses and things like that. Depending on what it is. There's some things you can import and export. I mean, really, if you know a good broker, you don't really have to do much of anything yourself. But in the event that you don't, or you are a broker, then you're handling that stuff yourself. So I think, as far as selling, I would just say those people would have had to go through the same process. So that they are vetted, because right now in some places you can just go get snakes, and some people do have
that's what I was saying, because I know you go to like to Philly, like back in the day, you could go to that PA show. Little 14, 15-year-old can go and grab them a fucking venomous, a little hot snake from there.
You still can. Yeah, you still can.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, he should be, I think, sellers should be registered, right? So they find some shit out, be like, all right, who sold you that snake? Boom. All right, you're on this registry. All right, we're gonna take whatever your license away or whatever, because you're selling to a minor that probably shouldn't have that snake. They probably just bought it off a whim, and you're like, yeah, sure, because I'm trying to move this stuff. So here you go.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is we're having this conversation, and people will be like, they're trying, these motherfuckers are talking about some permit system and all this. But when Jeff got bit, that's literally what they were saying without saying it. Like, who the fuck sold him this snake? Well, whoever sold this guy this snake, we need to find out who's selling these people these snakes. Well, that's what we're saying right now. But the only way to do that is to have like a central registration. But here's the thing, and even saying this, I'm not even totally for it. Like, as you know what I mean? Like, I understand it and I overstand it at the same time. But I'm in the understanding. I'm in the middle. Like, I don't want you in my house, and I don't want here's the thing, like, I'm not gonna do no permits. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing this for a long time. I'll take a test, and you want me to cut. And this is another thing I think that if you're a certain age, if you can come in and you can come in and like just take the test right then and there and pass it, and then go out on the field and show them like, hey, yeah, I got experiences, this is how you do this, then you can bypass all that shit. I think that should be an option too. See, that's how I see that as like a give and take. Like, how you gonna make me take some classes? I'm not gonna do it. And I am gonna keep my snakes, and I don't give a fuck what your law say. Like, I'll say that I don't care, because why would I care about the law when the people who make the laws don't even follow the laws? And some of these same people who will see this and be like, oh, here's this guy, got these same people, they keeping stuff illegally too. I'm not keeping anything illegally now, but what I'm saying is, if I go somewhere and they're trying to tell me that I can't have my stuff, or I got to give it to somebody until I take 1,000 hours, you're not even, that's not even going to be an option for you to ask me that question. Because you ain't going to know. It ain't your business, first of all. You know, I could care less. Like, people talk like that, but bro, I'm really like that. We'll have a shootout in here. Like, for real. Come on in here. Try to take something. My guys say that shit. You won't see them walking out with their shit. And they standing on the porch looking sad.
Shit.
We out of here in a body bag or in cuffs. And somebody else in a body now, bro. Bro, you're the same people that make these laws are the same people that are causing deforestation in the rainforest right now. You think I care what they say over an animal? I'm not bothering nobody. So, nobody has to know what I have in my house. But, no, I think in the event, like, you can't, like I'm saying, like, somebody who's already been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years, you shouldn't hit that person. It's like when you go to another state, bro, they don't make you take your test for your license again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in that sense. And I understand what I'm saying is, like, these people may not have a permit because we're talking about something that doesn't exist, hypothetically, and if it did exist, it would be new. So anyone under a certain age will automatically have to go and apply for the permit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
16 to like 21 or 16 to 25. And then anybody 25 and up has an opportunity to prove that they have, you know what I mean, that they actually know. Here's the written test. Take this shit right now, because you say you know it, so you don't need to, what you need to study for. If you know this stuff, right? And I agree. If you know it, you know it. Like, if I were to go work at another restaurant right now, like, bro, you ain't got to show me much. You know what I mean? Just show me where everything is at. So this is how you want it plated. Within 7 days, it's going to be like I've been working in that restaurant for 7 years.
Yeah. I mean, working in restaurants, like, I know you probably had to do the basket test, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You go, that's your interview. All right, here's your basket. Go ahead, make something. It's like, all right, cool, bet. Got you. I've done those plenty of times.
You send a resume in, they like what they see, they call you in, and then they be like, all right, you're going to work here for the day.
Yeah.
Like, whatever we want you to do, you're going to do, because you said your resume said you a G. So that's the same thing.
Yeah,
we ain't hiring you, we're going to see. Your resume said that you worked at here. Damn, you worked at Pineapples and Pearls? God damn. Boy, you worked at the animal? Oh, man. Well, you worked at, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So
yeah.
They expect that. And then you pull out your knives. You got some nice, shiny shoon. You got $3,000 worth of shoon knives. Man, you know how many guys I've had come in just like that and be like, bro, you some shit. Get the fuck out of here. Best knives, suited and booted, can't cook worth of shit. But
oh yeah,
they gave me the opportunity before I hire your ass and put you on the payroll and mess my money up, because I'll just work the line until I find somebody. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's how it should be. If you're of a certain age range, you should give your, like, yo, I have this. This is what I have. I've been doing this for this long. These are my references. When can I come in? Then they'll be like, here's the written portion. If you pass that with this amount, then you come down and you do field work.
Yeah.
For like
3
or 4 days or something like that. You'll take like a series of field tests. And if you score this on the field test, then you can bypass that. But if you fail, now you automatically go to the list where if you want to get your purse, now you got to be treated like an invalid now. Because you went out there and you said you was going to do some shit and you ain't do it.
Yeah.
So, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would help weed out a lot as well. I guess, and I think that's what this whole 1,000-hour thing is too, is to weed people out, not to be like, all right, no, I'm not gonna do that. And but then they also, like you said, it's that other thing
Nobody
of,
wants
well,
to write a research paper either, really.
no, they don't. No, people don't even want to read.
How
They
many
don't want to
people are
read
doing
shit.
reptiles really for research? Nobody.
Yeah.
But 90% of people that keep reptiles are not keeping them for research purposes or
Oh, no,
conservation purposes.
no,
And there's
no.
nothing wrong with having pets, people. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is a lot of y'all be lying, saying that you are keeping this shit for research and conservation, and nobody can afford a $20,000 snake for conservation. Not even a real conservationist is not going to buy a $20,000 Bolin's python or any $20,000 snake from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For a conservation project. Like, that's ridiculous money. And you got
Yeah.
10 of them for sale for the same price.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole conservation thing is, yeah, like people use that, like that's just a word that gets overused, in my opinion. It's just like, all right, how are you gonna do conservation? You're not reintroducing any of this shit back in.
Who's put anything back? How many people? One or two people over like the centuries?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, but it is what it is. All right, man. We getting close to this end because I gotta go do my Amazon Flex here in a minute. So, what's your future looking like right now, man?
Man, the future is looking like, I don't know.
So I remember I remember.
Actually, I'm gonna be jumping back into these green tree pythons a little bit. I spent a lot of time with that snake in particular. I think I have the most time with that snake outside of like cobras. That's like Presa Canario for me. Like I have the most time
Okay.
with Presa Canarios and American Pit Bull Terriers. So I'm very hard on the breeders and I'm very hard on the dogs themselves because I expect a lot. Like, it's real hard for me to bring a dog in here. And just because he comes here don't mean he's going to make the cut. Because the second I start seeing something like I don't like, let me see if I can correct it. Let me see if you're going to snap out of it. No, all right, you got to go. I can't have no, if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, it's not getting fed here.
So what do you look like? So for these green trees, what are you looking for then? Like what kind of, what are those, I guess, traits or whatever?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm real particular, very particular about the heads on the animals. I like the smaller locality or species. I said I'm going to be doing a podcast, a live. We're going to try to do this live about green tree pythons, like a real presentation, because no one's done anything like this since Rico, and it's nothing like what I'm going to do. And Rico's was a great presentation, but it's man. You think they don't like me now? Listen, everybody's going to be there, bro. Everybody will be there. They'll all be there. They'll all be there. All the ones that like me, hate me, can't stand me, want me to get hit by cars, all that shit. So, but yeah, I'm real particular on like size, color, not necessarily pattern as far as markings because you really can't control that. But I am looking for particular animals like with the powder blue hues.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to so now that the green tree python, and this is why this presentation is going to be really important and really good, because the green tree python for a while was bred under the guise that it was one single species with many localities. Now, they recently, over like, I think about 6-7 years ago almost, or maybe, about 6-7 years ago, somewhere in between that time, they, stuff gets reclassed all the time. So they've reclassed them into 4 species. So now that means that they've been, if that's true, and if you follow the science, which some people do and some people don't, that they've been getting crossed based off of species as well as location. So now it kind of gives rise for me, if I'm going to follow the science of them being different species, which I could say that they are, kind of like the carpet pythons. They have multiple species. That locality doesn't matter if you're dealing with the same species, or especially as far as breeding. Because if it's the same species in a location, in my opinion, that's just like getting a presa from Tenerife and then getting a presa from Gran Canaria, where they're both presses. So when I breed them together, I'm going to get more presses. And you know what I mean? So if I take species from, a locality from Waigeo and then one from Sorong and cross them, now that's the same species, even though one's an island and one's from the bigger one. I want to say mainland because they're all islands, but the big island versus the little island, now, whereas it was crossing strictly, this is a locality, but they're all viridis. So now knowing that, maybe that could be why particular animals come out the way they do, because it's based on species and not necessarily locality. And nobody's really talking about this. So I want to do a podcast detailing that and some other things. So yeah, I got something coming this week. And I'm looking at some other stuff now. So I'm gonna it's been a while, but I mean, I could probably pull a clutch off before the end of next year if I got stuff now. And I'm mainly only going to be working with wild caught stuff. I don't really want anybody's. There's a couple people I might grab some stuff from, like 3 people, if any, that I know, but everything is WC. Like, I don't want any of the stuff that they have over here. I mean, it's all scatterbred or inbred. Like, I just saw a thing on a website of someone who breeds beautiful green tree pythons, and they had it. It said, and I've talked about this with you, and I've done multiple podcasts on it. I'm going to bring this up and show the screenshot on this presentation. It was like mother. It said mother to daughter, mother to son breeding, and it said this is a line breeding. That's not a line breeding. That's an inbreeding.
Yeah.
I'm like, me, I'm not against that. Well, I'm against that. That's mother. Mother to son or father to daughter. Like, the only reason you should ever be doing that is if you're like literally like these are the last 2 animals on Earth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have another choice. Like, I can't get any more. I'm not gonna get any more. This is all I got type of deal.
Yeah.
Because we already know that stuff causes infertility, mental and physical disorders, among other things. But it said that. As a line, it said line breeding. And like I said, that's not a line breeding. That's an inbreeding. Even line breeding is still a form of inbreeding. It's just distant, but that is not line breeding. And remember, we talked about that. Like, bro, they don't know how to breed the animals. And that proves I didn't make it up. So
yeah. I think it was some of that breeding program stuff.
Right. Exactly. And I've heard other people on podcasts say similar incorrect things when they're asked about bloodlines. And I'm like, first of all, you can't make a bloodline with 2 animals. It's not possible. Like, and it's crazy that you have to tell people that. You can't, that's not a bloodline, bro. You're just, but, but those are the experts. So I'm definitely going to be doing a real deep dive, like I did the Presa Canario interview. They didn't like it, but it got thousands of views. So, and it was all fact. I'm not making anything up. So, like, that's what's going on. Like, I won't be doing so much more social media.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of stop doing that. Like, I'll do podcasts here and there. Like, I got some stuff coming up. I just think I figure out where I'm going to release some of this stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I'm not, the dog thing is done. I don't think I'm going to be. I might get a female forest cobra at some point, but yeah, I'm going to jump back into the green trees, and see what I can do. See what kind of damage I can do there. You're gonna be like, yeah, he definitely is gonna do some damage. Gonna fuck it up for everybody.
Well, I'm definitely I'm interested in seeing this presentation. You gonna have people on, or it's just you?
No, it's just gonna be me, and I won't say what channel it's gonna be on.
Okay.
But
Well,
yeah,
send me the link.
Me. and someone else, and we're gonna try to do it live. So yeah, but it's gonna so that way it's all in real time. Right then, be pulling stuff up, facts. Right then, like boom, you said what? What? It's gonna be crazy, bro. Because it's gonna be crazy. You're gonna hear people saying some crazy stuff to me, but I'm only gonna be dropping facts. I'm only gonna be dropping facts.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's all you can do. You drop correct information. You can't rebuttal it. So
yeah, I'm not gonna say, it's all like, and then I'm like, look, bro, then you go to Indonesia yourself. Like, if you haven't been over there, I ain't even taking no questions from you. Because
shit.
Yeah, because like you got an attitude and you've never even seen it. Like, bro, for decades, and even still, they try to propel this lie that this snake only eats birds. And so when we're talking about conditioning, so now that as soon as your green tree python doesn't eat, they're telling you to get some chicken down, or get a day old chick, or make some chicken stock with no salt in it and dunk the pinky in there. That'll get it to eat. Well, all reptiles like birds. Nigga, I like birds. You like birds too. Everybody likes a good fried bird. Everybody does. But birds aren't something that reptiles eat on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Like, they're not easy to catch. It's not easy to catch. Man, it's not easy to catch a chicken running around in your yard, bro.
Right,
you know what I mean? It's not easy to catch. So, you know what I mean? So
they're opportunists. That's what reptiles are opportunists. They're gonna grab what they can.
It's nocturnal though. It's a nocturnal animal. So right there, that shuts all that shit down. But here's the thing. They'll talk shit to me, but you open up the Mark O'Shea book, and Mark O'Shea saying the same thing I'm saying, because he went to Indonesia like I did and saw the same thing that I saw, them eating lizards and frogs, especially as babies. But they won't say that shit to Mark O'Shea, though. They won't call him a liar. They won't, you know what I mean? But me, that's not true. It's not this, but Mark O'Shea. So how you gonna believe him but tell me I'm a liar and we saying the same shit? That's the mindset we dealing with, right? That's why I'd be like, man, I gotta get off social media, bro. You can't, no matter what you say, they're gonna try to, if they can't get you on that, they're gonna be like, yeah, bro, you can't trust him. He misspelled and. Don't trust a guy who misspelled and. You know, that's how you know you got them, when they start talking about how your misspellings, like you at the spelling bee somewhere. Bro, learn to spell.
Shit. Goddamn. All right, bro. Well, I wasn't gonna say where everybody can find you, but you jumping off of social media. But I mean, if you want to plug your stuff, like if you want,
I'll probably still have the, all the NWA Connie Corso, like all that stuff will still be.
Yeah.
And I'll do podcasts there every now and then, but yeah, NWA Connie Corso. Just go to the podcast, unscripted podcast, or go to the lives. I got a bunch of lives there, and then unscripted. Are
you gonna bring back the Living with Venomous series?
We started releasing it, and then I don't know, we just stopped. Like I started on into the third season, so I guess I should start sending that stuff to my producer so he can start. But see, here's the other thing is, I think the reason I stopped is like my that's really a canine show, and the venomous stuff on there doesn't really. I mean, the reptile stuff on there doesn't really get. It only get where I'm getting thousands of views on my canine stuff. I'm only getting a couple hundred views on my reptile stuff, because the majority of the people that watch it are canine people.
Canine folks. Yeah. Makes sense.
I really need to give this stuff to someone so that they can release it on a reptile channel, because I'm not going to make another YouTube channel and release it. Yeah, I'm done.
I feel you. All right, folks. All right. Well, besides that, everybody, so this we started doing subscriptions on the Spotify, so you'll get early access to this stuff. So I'll probably start. Well, this will probably be one of the first ones. But besides that, everybody have a great night, morning, afternoon, whenever you listen to this. Now we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Yeah, Jason on the mic, welcome to the spot. Breeding those reptiles, straight fire, straight hot. Geckos in the house, snakes twist and turn. Lizards on the prowl, see the passion burn. Breeders in the game, they putting in work. Red tail bows, see them go berserk. Leopard geckos shine like scales of gold. Hobbyists unite, let them stories be told. Putting in that work every day and night. Jason got the spotlight, keeping it tight. Reptile keepers rise, making impact. Breeding them beauties, never looking back. Cages all set, heat lamps in place. Monitor lizards, putting on a chase. From the boa constrictors to the chameleons green. Building up the hobby, live the reptile dream. Corn snakes slither, python stretch. Crested geckos leap, ain't no contest. Spotlighting the keepers, doing it right. Every enclosure clean, every feeding tight. Putting in that work every day and night. Jason got the spotlight, keeping it tight. Reptile keepers rise, making